Hello, Rabbanit Shira.
Shalom, Rabbanit Hamutal. So I don't know what happens at your house towards Shabbat, but what I try to do is I try to freeze out, to take out from the freezer to defrost. To defrost all the things that I'm planning on cooking for Shabbat.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take out on Wednesday or Thursday night, I'm going to take out the meat and the chicken and the pagiot, everything that I'm planning on cooking for Shabbat, and I'm going to leave it on the counter in the kitchen, and I'll go to sleep. And then what happened is that my kids are coming over. I have, Baruch Hashem, I have 4 boys and a girl, and they're coming with their friends, and what they do is that they eat all of my food. They start cooking all of my meat and the chicken and whatever it is that is on the counter, and when I wake up in the morning, everything is gone, and I have to go shopping again. Okay. So here to say, I love my friends, I love my kids' friends,
and I admire you for not getting angry, because I would.
No, I don't get angry because I encourage them to bring their friends over, and we love that they're coming over, and we love it that they feel free at our house to eat whatever they want and to cook as much as they want.
Wow.
But I think what's interesting is that here in the Gemara, on the 8th chapter of Sanhedrin, the Gemara is talking about the borders, or the gvulot.
The educational borders.
The educational borders of what, when someone is out there. Meaning not when you're eating 2 kilo of asado before Shabbat, but when you're eating amounts that are considered to be already like a red flag in your education. Rega, what are you doing here? You're drinking so much wine. You're eating so much meat. You're like indulging in those very, very gashmi kind of pleasures. What does it say about you? What does it say about your pleasure, about your future? And what does it mean to your parents? What do they have to do about it?
So one of, I think, the most hard issues in the Torah and in the Mishnah and Gemara are ben sorer u'moreh. What happens when we fail as parents? And what does that mean? And also, I think the biggest question is, what's so bad about what he does? He eats and drinks. He doesn't kill anyone. He doesn't do avodah zarah. But the Gemara says he deserves stoning if he's ben sorer u'moreh, if he qualifies to every criteria. As we'll see, it's very hard to qualify to everything. But what's the story with ben sorer u'moreh, and how come it's so severe that we have to punish him so severely and kill him?
Because the punishment is a reflection as if he's idol worshipping, avodah zarah, chilul Shabbat, the top 3 main sins. And on the other hand, here we have the punishment on something that we all do. We all eat meat
and drinking,
and we all drink wine, and we all love it, and it's great. And so what is the big deal here?
And also, there's something about the Torah says that the parents are actually taking him out of the house and saying, "This is our son. We can't deal with it anymore. We need your help. We need the Beit Din. We need the community's help." And it says in Dvarim, Perek Kaf Aleph, Ki yeh leish ben sorer u'moreh, eineno shomea b'kol aviv u'b'kol imo. So he doesn't listen to his parents. Ve'isru oto, and they try to discipline him, and they fail. Ve'lo yishma elehem. ותפסו אותו אביו ואמו והוציאו אותו אל זקני עירו ואל שאר מקומו, and they say to everyone, "This is our son, סורר ומורה, איננו שומע בקולנו, זולל וסובל." So in the Torah, it's very short. We don't really understand what's the big sin here, but this is where there's a big difference between Torah shebe'al peh and Torah shebichtav, and the Gemara is trying to explain what exactly should he do in order to deserve this punishment.
So just a second before the Gemara, the Ramban on here, on Dvarim, on Chumash Dvarim, interprets, and he's also asking, all of the Parshanim will ask themselves, what is the big sin of Ben Sorer u'moreh? And the Ramban will say that it's because that he's cursing his parents. So it's not just not listening to his parents. Or eating or drinking. It's already mekalel aviv v'imo, and we already know that to curse, it's very severe, and the punishment is very severe. And the second thing is zolel v'soveh. So it's cursing and zolel v'soveh, but also what we'll see here that the Gemara is saying, we're not just punishing him about the present, but we're looking and
towards the future.
Again, we're afraid of the slippery slope. Meaning, if this is his behavior right now, what will happen to him as a grown-up?
Yes, and the Gemara is actually saying there's so many criteria that this boy should check all the boxes in order to get this punishment. And then when they're starting to talk about the parents, they're saying, what does it mean that the parents will say it together? Inenu shomea bekolenu. So the Gemara is saying their voice has to be the same, their appearance has to be the same. Things that are very, very weird. And then the Gemara is saying, wait, there's a Braita saying Ben Sorer u'moreh is not a real thing. לא היה ולא עתיד להיות.
Never happened.
It didn't happen. What we're doing is we're learning about educational crises and opportunities and problems. And why? Why do we learn about it? למה נכתב בתורה? דרוש וקבל שכר. We have to learn exactly what that means. We have to learn how to be better parents, but it didn't really happen. That's Rabbi Yehuda's opinion, because he says the parents have to be very, very similar to one another. Rabbi Shimon, on the other hand, is saying no. Rabbi Yonatan is saying, אני ראיתי וישבתי על קברו. I saw this one.
I saw that person.
Yeah.
I saw what had happened, and
Yeah.
I was witnessing his death. So I sat on his grave afterwards.
Right. And so it's really a big question. Why do we have so many dipim of getting down to very specific details about what he did, how his parents told him? If they're blind, if they're deaf, they can't be horim of sorer umore. All these questions. The question is, why do we have to learn it?
So the Yerushalmi is talking about the future of that child. Meaning, if in our Gemara we're saying we're dealing with it because of we're afraid of the slippery slope or the future of that son, in the Yerushalmi they're actually describing for us what does that future look like. And it says in the Yerushalmi in Sanhedrin in Perik Chet, צפה הקדוש ברוך הוא שסוף זה עתיד לגמרי נכסי אביו ואת נכסי אמו. So he's actually stealing from his parents and
spending all their money.
Spending all of their money, all of their נכסים, ויושב לו בפרשת דרכים, ומקפח את הבריות והורג את הנפשות. So it's not just stealing, it's not just eating crazy amounts, but it's killing. It's already going into murder. וסופו לשכוח תלמודו. ואמרה תורה, מוטב שימות זכאי ואל ימות חייב. Meaning we're going to kill him before he reached that point that he's already murdering other people and before he's causing all that harm to the world. We're going to kill him beforehand so that he's going to die as someone who's only done something mild before he reached to the most extreme thing that he can do.
I think it's a very big educational question here, because what the Yerushalmi is actually saying, it's saying we're not punishing him for the present, but for the future. And we as educators, as parents who live here in the Western world, we always believe in giving opportunities to our kids, and that there's always a tikkun to
and not to give up, not to have despair, and even if someone is failing, so you keep on teaching, you keep on talking.
So I think that I relate more to Rabbi Yehuda, saying it's so remote, it can't really happen. But why are we learning this? You have to learn about your responsibility as a parent, and how to lead your kids in the right direction. And what could happen is a very big question, but lo haya velo atid liyot.
I think what's interesting in this Gemara is also to know that the parents doesn't have the obligation to take their son out to the Beit Din. Meaning, let's say, chas v'chalila, you have a son that is eating, that is drinking, that is starting to steal and finishing all of your money. As parents, you have the ability to decide that you are continuing to fight over him,
right,
that you will continue to educate him, to talk to him, to punish him, to do whatever it is that you can in order to put him back in the right way. You don't have to take him out to the Beit Din.
Which is a big chidush. I didn't know that. I thought it was like a mitzvah.
It's like obligation.
If this is what happens to you, chas v'shalom, this is your son, this is what you have to do. But what we learned this week is it's not a mitzvah.
It's not a mitzvah, meaning if you have that son, you have the choice to decide that you want to take him out to the Beit Din, but you don't have to take him out to the Beit Din. Because once you're taking him out to the Beit Din and you're describing that son, you know that the stoning is what awaits for him.
Yeah.
And therefore, as parents, you have the ability to say, we're not giving up.
Right, exactly.
And
I think that's the biggest lesson that I learned this week, that it is important to learn these educational issues, and sometimes we fail as parents, but there's no mitzvah to perform ben sorer umore. It's on us to take responsibility, to know that there's a slippery slope in the educational field, but I think that it empowers parents to take responsibility, to steer our kids in the right direction, to do whatever we can.
בעזרת השם.
בשורות טובות,
שבוע טוב.